for now, I would hand over to Milan Kloewer, who was a participant in the last year edition of ECMWF Summer of Weather Code, and he will share with you his experiences, how it is to be part of ECMWF Summer of Weather Code. Milan, the floor is yours.
Great, welcome everyone. I'll just quickly share my screen. Share, and then this one, and then play. Does that work?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Okay, great. Yes, so I participated last year in the Summer of Weather Code, and so I just presented like a very short presentation here, just a couple of slides for you to give you an idea of what you can ask. So my project was, I basically phrased it then as Elefridge. So it was really a project around data compression. So basically questioning whether the way how data is currently compressed at ECMWF, or also for the Copernicus service in general, whether this can be done in any better way as it's currently done. And so really the challenge was presented in this way of that whenever we do data compression, there's a certain trade-off. So basically visualize or similar to this idea of if you want to squeeze an elephant into a fridge, there's different ways you can do it. You can either get a very large fridge, but the problem is obviously that we want to get a smaller data archive rather than a bigger one. You can take, for example, a picture if you want to, but then the problem is that you throw away some information, some data. And if you only store that picture, then you basically, you have some missing data, and you would like to obviously keep as much as possible so that everyone can use the data that is produced at ECMWF. And then the last one is speed. So basically the idea, of course, we could basically take the DNA of an elephant and store that one in the fridge, but then it really would take years to recreate it. And so basically what I was working on is this more like basically tackled this idea of how much can we preserve information while reducing the precision, which gives us basically the size reduction. And then basically one of the outcomes was this one here, where you can see basically it's the it's ozone, I think some like 10 kilometers up in the air. And then on the very left slide, this is basically the full precision original data set as it basically is currently stored. And then I'm basically reducing the precision going from left to right. But actually I went then on and developed some metrics, how you can quantify the real information preserved. And this is what you can see here up in the top. So what I'm basically proposing, or I'm still proposing what I proposed for last year's challenge, was then we can do something like this, where we conserve 99% of the information, but actually achieve compression factors of up to 30x, meaning that basically the whole data archive could be stored in its current form 30 times, because everything is 30 times smaller. How I got to this ECMWF Summer Weather Code was basically because a friend of mine who's in the same PhD program as me, so I'm a PhD student, and that's also why I did this project, because it basically fit very well into my overall workflow anyway, and it was a nice additional project. Just want to say a couple of things on proposal writing. Julia already went into a lot of details there. So I think in the end, I probably submitted only, I think, 3 or 4 pages. So not really much more. I just really tried to be short and concise. But what really helped me writing this was that I just started a discussion with the mentors on GitHub, just like asking some questions. What is this challenge actually about? Are there any technical things that you basically in your current role can't really foresee? Just start a discussion so that you get an idea of what could be done, what's possible, what's possible from their side, what's possible from your side. Read a bit through the references they put up. So they will probably always put up some papers or find some online to get an idea of what already has been done in that field, what are already different approaches to similar challenges. Yeah, and then really the actual writing. So from my side, it was really just propose something that is feasible, plausible. You don't necessarily have to propose something that will be exactly the final form that you or like the final work that you were working on. So just as an example here, I just picked up my timeline from last year, and I realized actually these 2 points here, the second and the third, I've actually realized while working on the first one and working, like getting myself more comfortable with the whole topic, that these two basically, they would be possible, but they don't really make sense, and there's other ways to do it better. So basically skipped these two, added a couple of other points while working on them, and then basically finished with the other ones. So these timelines don't have to be final, but they should basically show the mentors that you can work in a very structured way, and that yeah, this is how teamwork works, right? That you communicate that, and maybe even, so I don't know, add some graphs or diagrams of like ideas that you have how this could be tackled. Really important was this, like, address the dissemination of your results. So but thanks to that, the whole ESoC is basically happening on GitHub anyway. It's very easy. You just create your own repository, and whenever you have like the next step of your work, you just push it to the repository, and so everything is always in there. And ECMWF can look at it, Copernicus can look at what you did, and it also just keeps track of your progress, and that's really good. And I guess when really just like if you do the writing, yeah, maybe just like look a bit outside the box, what other people have been done, and add these references so that the mentors can see that too. The communication with the mentors was actually really easy. So we just have a Slack workspace, in which we've just yeah, very frequently, just like whenever I don't know, tackled some problems, some issues, some additional information that I needed, I was just writing in there, and then usually, I don't know, within not more than a couple of hours, one of my mentors would just answer, and we had like a little discussion or so. And then actually very occasionally we had video calls, because most of the time for us it was better to work asynchronously instead of always meeting up in person, or like virtually in person. So really the benefits for me that came with these couple of months last year was that I learned a lot, because I basically forced myself to work on a project that I haven't worked on before. That was great. I had some additional supervision, so because obviously you just work on a different topic that you haven't necessarily worked on before, and so always having some other people that have additional knowledge that you can communicate with is just great. Yeah, now I think the people that I got to know is just a great bunch of people for further collaborations. That's great. For me, simply because I'm already a PhD student, it's great because the results will just basically be part of my thesis. So we'll just integrate them somehow into my thesis. We're probably also, because some of that stuff worked quite well, so probably we've already started preparing a publication, though, so that's probably going to be published at some point, fingers crossed soon. And then what I also really enjoyed is that actually ECMWF is really interested in your results. So it's not just something that you do and you do, I don't know, you do it for yourself and someone says like, okay, thanks, bye. But it's really that, yeah, whatever good outcome you will present, ECMWF is interested in that. And from their perspective, it's really, you have a big organization behind you that if something is great, can basically immediately pick up your ideas and implement them. Yeah, and then in the end, I mean, there's also a bit of money involved, which is just great because it's a nice way of acknowledging your work. And for me, it just meant that probably have some further funds that I can put into other research projects. And yeah, just want to stop here. And if you have any questions, I don't know, Julia, whether you want to directly ask them from the Slido or.